Good morning. Welcome back to the Ahn Rho Project. And 3, 2, 1. Let's get started. This is the first of 2 live streams. And what we have, of course, as usual, this is a self-therapeutic multimedia project for me to solve the problems and challenges in my life, as well as a self-improvement process for me to reach the goals and ambitions I've set for myself. Now, there's a lot that can be said more about the introduction, but what we have first to cover in the next 2 live streams, this one and the next one. The first one has to do with finance and part of the insurance. Again, what you see is what you get. So you take a look at the title, you see the photographs as well, or rather it's a link to the provincial student loan website. Basically, we have some government student loans, we have some insurance, accidental and workplace benefits to cover, as well as a little bit of what I call debt in the form of food. And that's just some watermelon and supplies here that I've used that are not mine. So that's the first live stream, and the second live stream today we're going to cover is going to be on, I believe, project updates. So I'm going to talk about some things that have been happening on the sort of administrative and creative and technical side of this whole project. So we're not so much focused on any particular topic aside from the project itself. So it's kind of like a very meta sort of way, self-reflective. We're going to talk about some, giving some thanks to some followers, to a few people who have actually started to, I never thought I'd get my first follow on Facebook. But we also had some things in terms of what's it? Right, testing with the audio mic. So that's something else is also that's also new. So I just trying to work out the fly here. Today I woke up later than I was supposed to. It seems like a recurring trend, but we gotta keep things moving. So that's what we have for today. The Ahn Rho Project, as usual, a self-therapeutic project. As I mentioned at the very beginning, lots of different sub-series and domains, which I didn't mention, including money, finance, relationships, hobbies, interests. It's basically a time record of my life, and it's treating life as sort of a large management project. It's also like a business in a sense because of this. One of the sub-series called Item Catalog focuses on me just databasing everything that comes in and out of my life. So that's a lot like inventory, that's like business. But it's also a game, so you can think of it like a survival game, and that's what it is as well. I've set myself for 1,000 days till death. That's another sub-series of the Ahn Rho Project, where basically we're about, 22% in. If you look at the title, it means 220 days have passed until I assume that I dropped dead at the age of 30. So to get everything done in time is really the challenge there. So it's a whole hodgepodge of many different things, and that altogether makes up the Ahn Rho Project. So today what we had to cover, I mentioned at the very beginning, and this is the first of 2 live streams. Welcome if you're from Facebook, Twitch, Periscope, or YouTube. So the first thing we're going to cover today is probably, let's talk about student loans. Okay, so I mentioned that in the previous live streams, which you can find on my channels in the playlists, so you can just check that out. For the past week or so, 2 weeks, it's been a real mess. I can just mention 10 things on the fly: a dental appointment, my workplace benefits, accidental death. That's what we're going to talk about in this live stream. We also had my caregiver's birthday, my brother coming back from university and then returning to university, and then my cousin's upcoming birthday, which I spoke about in yesterday's live stream. And then it just goes on, and I'm still working full-time at a PPE, as well as volunteering for a seniors home long-term care center. So all these sorts of things, and then of course adding on to that all the topics that we're going to speak about today. So it's just been a real, at least 20, 30, 40, 50 different things just came all together at once. And so let's talk about the first thing that showed up here was the student loan. So I graduated from university quite a while ago. It feels like I've been in the workplace for quite a while now, but I've still been trying to get rid of those loans, and I'm in repayment now basically, and I've been in that stage for a long time, but now I can actually afford to pay it off and wipe it off completely, which is basically what I've been trying to do. And actually, so for this month or so, I've been in that sort of phase where I'm just paying off the principal. So what I have actually in as a link of sorts, it's not a link, sorry. There are no links on the video live stream, obviously, but it's just it's like I'm experimenting with using. That's another thing I'll talk about in the next live stream, with using imagery from web sources as a part of my live stream. So this is the first time I'm doing something like this, but basically you see on the my right is your left an interface of the website for Ontario student loans, and that is the website, the government provincial student loans in Canada for Ontario citizens, and so students, sorry. And so what happens is I remember back in 2010, that's where I was in 2009, in fact, so that's more than a decade ago. I was in grade 12 applying for student loans and stuff like that. So I just brought that interface, I brought up the website just to, talk about, basically that's what I've been trying, now what I am capable of paying off now. And it's what I'm doing. And it just happened to coincide with all of these other things that are happening in the past month, the past 2 weeks. So I've been making payments in addition to all of this nonsense, full-time work, volunteering, this project, people's birthday, my cousin's birthday, my brother coming back, moving around a lot of stuff, testing a lot of stuff. It's just been insane. And that's what we're working on. That's what we've been doing. Next thing I have to mention, okay, so aside from provincial student loans, we can also talk about insurance. So now the funny thing is I already talked about this in part, at least halfway in a previous stream, maybe 2-3 days ago. No, about 3-4 days ago. I believe we talked about my workplace benefits covering my dental service fees. The funny thing is, of course, I filed a claim, and I showed it almost a week ago that basically I had to pay $250 up front, but then my claims, my benefits cover 70%, so I got about $165 back. And again, previous live stream, you can check that out if you want. But long story short, there's something else that I have to cover. Those are my workplace benefits, so that's sort of employment insurance. But what we have is different. That we also have to create an account with, and I still have yet to create an account with my workplace benefits, my workplace insurance company. But I also have to create a second account with an accidental death life insurance company, and that's a different organization, a different company that I'm obviously not going to mention what the names are. That's kind of private. But long story short, I recently received mail from about 2 weeks ago saying that, there's a promotional offer about basically they're trying to get everyone to work digitally. So to go online and digitally keep track of their life insurance certificates. And so that's something I've always wanted to do for a long time, but I've been swamped with so many different things. But I think this long weekend I can do that. So I'm going to try to create an account not only with my workplace benefits insurer, but also with this accidental death insurance. And I didn't actually want accidental death. If you are familiar with accidental death insurance, is just if you die through accidental means, through unanticipated means, like maybe you got run over by a car, you got struck by lightning, some shit like that. And there are a lot of stipulations to it. That's why I don't typically buy it. In fact, I don't. It was actually passed on to me from my caregivers. So my mother's side, my maternal side, she purchased this on my behalf and has been paying for it and continues to pay for it, even though I have expressed explicitly that I don't believe it's a good return. But I think that the funny thing is she's doing this more for herself and for my brother than she is doing it for me. That's what accidental death is, right? In case I die, they get money. They get money in case I die. That's the whole point of it. And she's basically paying for that. And, it's interesting because it sounds like a very selfish thing from my end, because I didn't ask for it, but they're paying on my behalf. But it doesn't surprise me given the family dynamic we've had. We're not much of a family at all. So I'm not going to deep dive into that. Needless to say, she does her, and I'm not mad about it because, as far as I'm concerned, if she can take care of herself when I'm gone, then I'm happy. I mean, there's life. I don't wish her any ill will, even though there's been a lot of chaos in my first 2 decades of living with them because, life, they are refugees, poverty, all that kind of shit. So you can't really, it's hard to sort of fault or blame them for things that their own caregivers did to them when they were young back in a third world country, right? So it passes on from generation to generation, and they didn't treat me, they basically tortured me in a sense, but that's only because they were tortured by their own caregivers. And it's not really torture, it's more like, life is hard and they're extremely strict, almost extremely to the point that it becomes abusive. But at the same time, you understand that this is just how the world is. Life is cruel, and sometimes negative habits just pass on from generation to generation. And so, at this point in time, I feel like sometimes my caregivers don't feel like they just feel like they haven't gotten the, I guess, love from me that they would have liked. And unfortunately, I can say that I certainly didn't feel loved by them when they used to beat and tell me that they would rather strangle me and have me tossed out on the street. So that's just, and I knew that those were just words, that they didn't mean it. But to have that happen every single day, every couple hours, and for them to just, that's just life. And at this point, I think that I'm just going to be happy for them if I end up passing away early and they get money from my death to help support their living, support my brother's living, support them together. I think I can be happy with that. That's what I want. That's how it is. That's that kind of went deep, but that's basically life insurance, that payments that they've been paying for. And I want to give that sort of background context so that even though it seems like a selfish thing for them to do, I'd like to remind that it's not selfish. It's actually just self-preservation. It's just survival when you're at the very bottom dredges of society and you have a low-income family. So they're just doing what's best for them, and I hope that they continue to. They haven't asked me to pay for the accidental life insurance. They're doing it themselves. So if she's going to do that, then all the more power to it. And then finally, the last thing we have to cover, in a sort of related note, obviously because we're not much of a family, I can mention that I've still eaten food from them that I'm not really supposed to use. So we have some watermelon here, and they cut it up, and we're still living together, like I said. And things aren't great, but it's more than I can ask for. You still have to appreciate. I appreciate what I have. I appreciate them having been there to at least provide the basics of food, shelter, and clothing growing up. And so watermelon here is sort of like, I guess, depth. I feel like it's depth. I'm eating something that really isn't supposed to be what I want to eat. So that's that. And that's all I have to say about that. We also have some toothpicks and some paper towels here. And this kind of stuff really is something that they purchased. And hence why you see in the title it does say depth at the very bottom. That's what it is depth. I'll just have to, I think I plan on actually today speaking about buying a cake for my caregiver because she has had her birthday just last week. And unfortunately it's on a weekday, so I couldn't celebrate with her. I know, right? What a conversation to have. We just went full circle, right? It's like all that negative stuff, and now I'm still trying to celebrate. Like I said, you have to appreciate your caregivers no matter what, because they as long as if they haven't abandoned you on the street, that means that they've struggled to keep you alive. That's the way it is. If they haven't abandoned you on the street, they struggle to keep you alive. So that's important. So long story short, I want to buy a cake for her. I'm gonna go out there maybe later on today, 2-3 hours, maybe 3-4 hours probably. I know she likes tiramisu, so I'm probably gonna look for like a coffee cake called tiramisu. It's like a cold ice cream cake, and that's the kind of stuff she likes. I asked mango or tiramisu, and I think she said that mango is a bit sour sometimes, so and she's got some health issues there too. So that's what I'm going to do today. That's regarding debt. So watermelon, I should probably include. I should have included cake in the title, but I didn't do that. So I forgot about that. But that's something else that I gotta do today. So buy a cake for my caregivers, for my mother specifically, as well as some watermelon here, and then we have some life insurance, and then we have some government student loans that I've been paying off. And so that's the first of 2 live streams. The second live stream of which today we're gonna move on to right now in about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. We're gonna start talking about project updates. So project updates. Look forward to that, and I'm very, by the way, very pleased I'm able to talk about such personal and sensitive matters without, I don't know, losing my cool like I used to. So I think things have changed. I think I've grown, and that's good. So no, they're definitely being changed for the past 2 years. So that being said, I'll see you in the next 90 seconds to 2 minutes when I get up the next live stream. See y'all there. This is the Ahn Rho Project.